We've covered the core technical scanning and process areas across this series. Today, we're tying together 4 topics that come up in specific situations: structured security reviews, blockchain specific security considerations, privacy by design, and how all of it ultimately rolls up into a formal risk assessment. Let's start with security reviews. When and why they happen. A security review is a point-in-time structured assessment, often triggered by a specific event, a new vendor relationship, a major architecture change, a new product launch, activity related to a merger or acquisition, or simply a customer or contractual requirement that needs to be satisfied. This is different from continuous scanning. A security review is a deliberate, scoped exercise that pulls together findings from multiple sources: your SAST results, DAST results, infrastructure scans, and architecture risk analysis into a single risk picture for a specific decision that needs to be made. The structure typically looks like this: define the scope, gather evidence including existing scan results and documentation and interviews, perform a gap analysis against a relevant standard, whether that's ISO 27001, SOC2, or a specific customer requirement, and produce a findings report with prioritized recommendations. Some common triggers worth naming specifically: due diligence ahead of a funding round, responding to enterprise customer security questionnaires, reviews following an incident, and reviews triggered by a new product or feature that handles sensitive data. Now let's talk about blockchain security reviews, because this is a genuinely different risk model. Why is blockchain different? Immutability. Mistakes can't be quietly patched after the fact. A bug in a deployed smart contract is often permanent or extremely costly to fix, sometimes requiring an entirely new contract deployment and migration. The key review areas for blockchain include smart contract code review, looking for issues like reentrancy vulnerabilities, integer overflow and underflow, access control problems on contract functions, and oracle manipulation risks. Key management is another critical area. Often the weakest link isn't the smart contract itself, it's how private keys and wallets are secured. And third-party dependency risk applies here too. The same software composition analysis principles from an earlier episode, but applied specifically to blockchain libraries and frameworks. There are also architecture considerations specific to blockchain, the trust boundary between on-chain and off-chain components. What happens if the blockchain network itself experiences an outage or a fork, and how the application handles transaction failures or reversals. It's worth noting that blockchain security reviews often combine traditional architecture risk analysis with specialized smart contract analysis tools and manual expert review. This is a niche area where manual review by someone experienced in this space carries more weight than automated scanning alone. Now let's shift to privacy by design and privacy assessments. The principle of privacy by design, in simple terms, is building privacy considerations into a system from the very start, not bolting them on after launch. Data protection impact assessments, sometimes called privacy impact assessments, become necessary when you're processing personal data in new ways, especially sensitive categories of data, processing data at large scale, or using new technology like AI to process personal data. These assessments cover what data is collected, why it's collected, how long it's retained, who has access to it, and what the risk to individuals would be if something went wrong. There's a strong connection here to data classification, which we covered in an earlier episode, and to architecture risk analysis. A privacy assessment is essentially architecture risk analysis with a privacy lens, tracing personal data flows across trust boundaries and asking, does this data actually need to be here, and is it protected appropriately for what it is? Some practical privacy by design habits include data minimization, only collecting what you actually need, purpose limitation, only using data for the purpose it was originally collected for, retention limits, not keeping data indefinitely just in case, and default privacy settings that favor the individual rather than maximum data collection. Now let's bring everything together with the risk assessment. A risk assessment is the synthesis point. It pulls together inputs from everything we've covered across this entire series. Policy gaps, secure development, life cycle findings, your SAST, DAST, software composition analysis and infrastructure results, architecture risks, AI and blockchain specific reviews, and privacy assessments. The standard methodology in plain language looks like this. Identify your assets and the threats to them. Assess the likelihood and impact of each threat. Calculate an overall risk level. By combining likelihood and impact, determine how you'll treat each risk, whether you accept it, mitigate it, transfer it, or avoid it altogether, and document all of this in a risk register with clear owners and target dates. The risk register is a living document. It's the artifact that turns all of this technical scanning and review work into something leadership can actually use to make decisions, where to invest, what to formally accept, and what needs immediate attention. And this isn't a one-time exercise. Risk registers should be updated quarterly or semi-annually, with a fuller formal risk assessment conducted annually, or whenever a major change occurs in the business or the technology environment. To close out this series, from policy foundations, through the secure development lifecycle and its testing layers, through architecture and code level practices, AI and blockchain specific considerations, privacy by design, and finally the risk assessment that ties it all together. This end-to-end view connecting your existing scan results and reviews into a single prioritized board-ready risk register is exactly what RiskRecap does every month. You run the scans and the reviews. We turn the results into decisions.